Good morning. I am Amy Firestein, and I am your lay liturgist this morning. And I am so happy to see so many of us here on this holiday weekend. And I'm glad to be sharing today's service with the Reverend Kathy Ellis. We welcome you to celebrate in the transformative power of religious community, on site or online. We are glad you're here. Whoever you are, wherever you live, whomever you love, whatever you do for a living, you are welcome at the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg. We invite you to join us for social time at our coffee hour following the service. And for those joining online, we have a coffee hour Zoom link that was sent to you in the morning links. We affirm our mission to encourage, equip, and empower.
Please rise and body your spirit as we sing our opening song, Gathered Here. If I could have choir members please join me up front. They will help us out with this.
From our separate joys and struggles, we come here to find the peace of balance, to find the blessing of restlessness. I invite you to respond with Amy. To follow, to lead, to teach, to learn, to join in the dance, to catch our breath. To give generously, to receive gratefully. If we are steady and composed, if we feel completely lost, if we don't know what we are feeling, next slide, please.
This community has a place for us. Here we matter, and we are loved.
If you are steady and poised, if you feel completely lost, if you don't know what you feel,
this community has a place for us. We matter, we are loved.
thank you. So we will light our chalice as we do in Unitarian Universalist congregations to signify our coming together and creating sacred space with our coming together. We do it with the affirmation of our covenant, if you will read the words on the screen with me. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. So Corey has the day off, and I get to read you actually one of my favorite children's books. I loved reading this to my daughter, so it's a classic. A Chair for My Mother by Vera Williams. My mother, wait a minute. How many of you know this story? Would you raise your hands if you know the story? A few, okay. My mother works as a waitress at the Blue Tile Diner. After school, sometimes I go there to meet her. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salts and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time, I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. Whew. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half my money into the jar. It takes a long time to fill up a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all her change from tips. You can see that this is a dated book, but she empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count, and then we put all the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money into little piles. Some days she has lots of tips. Some days she has only a little. And she looks worried on those days. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in an old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts the savings into the jar. When we can't get one single more coin into the jar, we are going to buy a chair. Yep, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, soft, fat armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the world. That's because all our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. And that wasn't a very long time ago. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals, she had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips. She was saying that she liked the red tulips, and I was saying that I liked the yellow ones. And then we came to our block. Right beside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All of the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's my mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, she's here, she's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a long time to find her. But everything else in the house was spoiled. What was left of the house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move to the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny. But the rooms were very empty. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and ice cream, and they brought us a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought us a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug My mother's other sister had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware, and dishes. My cousin brought me her very own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. She said, "You all are the kindest people, and we thank you very, very, very much. It's lucky we're young and can start over," said Grandma. That was last year. But we still have no sofa and no big chairs. And when Mama comes home from being a waitress, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to sit and take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on the kitchen chair. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner. And all the coins started to go into that jar. Now, the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full. My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On Mother's Day off, we took them to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. We shopped through the furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, with soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Finally, we found the chair we were dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. We knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. I tried out the chair in the back of the truck. Another sign that this book is from past years. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove. There we go. But they let me sit in it while they carried it up to the door. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma, Mama, and I all sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on the TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her, and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep. And that is a chair for my mother. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join in singing the first two voices of For All That Is Our Life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life.
Work by Khalil Gibran. You work that you may keep pace with the earth and the soul of the earth. For to be idle is to become a stranger unto the seasons, and to step out of life's procession that marches in majesty and proud submission towards the infinite. When you work, you are a flute, through whose heart the whispering of the hours turns to music. Which of you would be a reed, dumb and silent, when all else sings together in unison? Always you have been told that work is a curse and labor a misfortune. But I say to you that when you work, you fulfill a part of earth's furthest dream, assigned to you when that dream was born. And in keeping yourself with labor, you are in truth loving life. And to love life through labor is to be intimate with life's inmost secret. And when you work with love, you bind yourself to yourself and to one another and to God. And what is it to work with love? It is to weave the cloth with threads drawn from your heart, even as if your beloved were to wear that cloth. It is to build a house with affection, even as if your beloved were to dwell in that house. It is to sow seeds with tenderness and reap the harvest with joy, even as if your beloved were to eat the fruit. It is to charge all things you fashion with a breath of your own spirit. Work is love made visible.
And let's rise again and sing verses 3 and 4.
For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
A Blessing for Work by John O. Donahue. May your work excite your heart, kindle in your mind creativity to journey beyond old limits. May your work challenge you, calling forth from you the full force and depth of your gifts. May the work fit the rhythms of your soul. May you have the grace of encouragement to awaken in the other's heart. May your work be worthy of the energy of your heart and the light of your thought. May your work assume a proper space in your life. Instead of owning or using you, may it challenge and refine you, bringing you every day further into the wonder of your heart. Amen. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
So on this Labor Day Sunday, we celebrate workers really, and love, both essential aspects of life. For all that is our life, we sing and thank our thanks and praise. We can and we do use our love and our work to build the common good. And this is where I'm going to stick in a little announcement, even though we don't do announcements. In your order of service is a special insert from the Caring and Compassion Connection team. We are not asking you to join the team. We are asking you to fill this out to let us know which of these services you might be able to provide if you are asked. So if we have someone who needs a ride to the doctor, we might have a list of people to contact, not just the people on the team. Or if we have someone who needs meals, we might have a whole slew of cooks ready to make meals and someone else who might drive them to the person. Please think about what you might be able to do if asked. It might be a one-time thing. It might be a couple of times, because it is as needed for building the common good of this congregation. So please fill this out and stick it in the collection basket when it comes around. So the children's story was also about collectives building the common good. The neighbors worked to help the family the family worked together. And that's really why I like the book so much. That and that they actually find that dream chair with velvet and roses. Building the common good is actually what Labor Day is about, historically. It's about honoring workers and their community, their collective. It was formed for unions to strengthen and to work to improve working conditions. And they were actually even worse when Labor Day was first formed in the late 19th century. Peter McGuire was an organizer of the first New York Labor Day, and he said that working men on parade, because that's what they were doing, having workers parade, would publicly show the strength and the esprit de corps of trade and labor organizations. Now, in the mid-20th century, corporate public relations firms worked really successfully to discredit and disempower American labor unions. Actually, from my way of thinking, they were way too successful. And unions somehow became bad. But now, workers are again insisting on being treated as valuable human beings. They are organizing to improve working conditions. And our Unitarian Universalist values call on us to respect the dignity and worth of all workers, all workers. I am not saying that unions are perfect organizations. They are human organizations. They have faults. But unions are about the workers and the people who belong to them, and it is a way of trying to find more balance, more power balance. Now, Sigmund Freud, and not everything that Sigmund Freud said was wrong. Sigmund Freud has said that a sane person is one who is able to love and to work. And since I titled this Love and Work, I say, how do love and work intertwine? And I say, well, really, in many, many ways. My brother David asked me what I was going to talk about this morning, and I told him, and he's a retired school teacher from the Harrisburg district, and he said he could not have done his job without love for the students. Sometimes we love the work itself, or we love the results of the work. Sometimes we just work in order to care for what we love. And we can, and I hope we do, bring our love into the work environment. Writer, scholar Bell Hooks wrote in the late 90s that she thought there was not much public discussion of love, not romantic love, but a love of acting towards people and caring for people. And she wrote, "When I first declared my desire to work in a loving environment, my friends acted as if I had truly lost my mind. To them, love and work did not go together. But I was convinced that I could work better in a work environment shaped by an ethic of love." Now, we are encouraged, at least those of us who have some level of privilege, are encouraged to find work that we love. But, that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. It's not easy, even if we have the privilege to choose, to find the work that we love and work in an environment that, with people that we can respect and care about. When I was about, how old was I, 35, I got a job that I had worked for a long time and really wanted. I was a professor, starting out, I was an assistant professor in the counseling department at Shippensburg University, where I was able to do both counseling and teaching, and that's really what I liked about that particular position. And a few years later, I said to my husband, and it's only a slight exaggeration, that I had to leave that job or I would die. I was not prepared for academic politics, That's one thing. But also it was a job where there are some children, but nevertheless, I was told that I had the right genitals for the job by a kind of a supervisor person. And I learned, as in those days we named sexual harassment from professors, I learned that almost all of the men in the department had been sexually harassing their students. Our students were mostly women, and they mostly, yeah. And I did my best to help those students and to try to make things different, but I had to leave for my own sanity. Work, bell hooks again, says, work occupies much of our time, and doing work we hate assaults our self-esteem and self-confidence. Yet most workers cannot do the work they love, and we can all enhance our capacity to live purposely by learning how to experience satisfaction in whatever we do. And we can find that satisfaction by giving any job total commitment. She said, when I had a teaching job that I hated, the kind of job where you long to be sick so you don't have to go, the only way I could ease the severity of my pain was by doing my very best. Strategy enabled me to live purposely. Doing a job well, even if we do not enjoy what we are doing, means that we can leave it with a feeling of well-being, with our self-esteem intact. And thinking about this morning and what I wanted to say, I came across an article about a sermon that Martin Luther King gave in 1957, which was labeled the Street Sweeper's Sermon. And in that sermon, his message was to be proud of yourself, which was often his message, to be proud of what you do, and if you are a street sweeper, then work to be the very best street sweeper that you can be. Bringing love into the work environment can create a transformation that can make any job we do, no matter how menial, a place where workers can express the best of themselves, and when we work with love, we renew the spirit. So I was talking to my husband about this idea of bringing love into the workplace, and he told me a story that he had recently heard from a high school friend of his who had been working at Lowe's. He said, I don't think Larry could bring love into his work. The story was, Larry was up on one of those great big things that people climb at Lowe's to get things on the top of the very top shelves, and two women customers were below and asked him to come down and help them. And he said, yes, I will, just a minute, when I finish this thing that I'm doing. And the older woman said, you come down right now, I own you. Larry decided, he did tell the woman that she did not own him, and he decided that he wasn't going to stay in that job anymore very much longer. It also made me think of a David Sedaris piece that used to play on NPR all the time at Christmas time, where the woman says, I'm going to get you fired. Because there are circumstances and people that are harmful, hurtful, dehumanizing. It is important for us to take our love everywhere we go. As actually Jim Hanshaw said to me this morning, that he wants to thank all the people who work for him, and this is what we should do. We need to treat people with respect and thanks. And haven't you experienced that both happiness and satisfaction and unhappiness in love or in work can bleed into the other. I read a book by German Christian theologian Dorothy Soley. So this is Christian language, you can take it if you're not Christian. God created us as lovers and workers. To be created in God's image means to be able to work and to love. To talk about our love and our work is to talk about the fundamental activities of our adult lives in which we experience the intensity of failure and the felicity of success. Good work and good loving relationships require mutuality, self-expression, vulnerability, and the courage. The courage to be your own person, to be real and to be whole. Now, by work, I should say, I don't mean paid jobs, but all the ways that we engage in the world, participate in doing things in the world, and in creating things in the world. The two most fundamental tasks of life, love and work, can't really be separated. That's how we live. That's how we find value. Solely also tells us that work is the activity that relates a person to her society. Work creates community and imbues people with the pride of belonging. Work is a communal activity. Even the fairly little community at the Blue Tile Diner was, in fact, creating a community. Josephine, Mama, the other people who worked there, I'm sure, and the child supported each other. We actually become ourselves both through good work, again, not necessarily a job, and through relationships. Solly says, God has created people to be creators and to realize their humanity through work. The human being actualizes herself, becomes the subject she is meant to be, becomes truly herself or himself or themselves through work. In good work, we discover who we are, we assume responsibility for ourselves and others, and we lay the foundation for our own and society's future. Poet David White wrote that it's as if there was a special kind of invitation waiting for you and you alone, and you just had to listen hard to hear it. Sometimes you have to listen very hard, I think. He points out the human soul's desire to belong to the world. We need at every stage in our journey through work to be in our conversation with our desire for something that's true to us and who we are. I do think that every person has a call and unique gifts. The gifts of simply being who you are, who you know yourself to be, not who someone else tells you that you are. But it isn't easy. It's a little easier for those of us who are privileged and able to be educated. As an adult, I've been really fortunate that I have listened and paid attention to the changing ways that I have felt called, and the ways that it seems like I could serve the world and be true to myself. And I've been blessed to find that call through jobs, even if things change on the job. And so look, I retired in 2016. And here I am, working again in ministry. Well, that wasn't calling for applause, but thank you. Now, my husband Rick, on the other hand, was absolutely never sure what his paid work should be. As a middle-aged adult, he would say he didn't know what he wanted to do when he was grown up. But Rick has identified an authentic call, and it's not related to a job. His call is to fix things, whether at home, at church, or if someone has called him to help them. He fixes things and tries to solve problems. I also think his call is to care for people, which he does quite a lot of. Just as I see many of you are called to care for each other and do care for each other. Call can be to all kinds of work. It can be to music. It can be to art. It can be to many things. call is to work that you love, not necessarily a job, work that fits you. When you answer that call, then that work shapes you. And it might not even be the work that you do well or that other people think you should do. It may just be the thing that you need to do. The meaning of a job can be that it's supporting yourself and your family. The meaning may be that you support your loves. But meaningful work is the work that you find meaning in. And I hope you do. Soli says, work should be a joy in our lives, and it is crucial for our attainment of full personhood. Aquinas, another ancient Christian theologian, said that there can be no joy in life without joy in work. If we never experience the joy of life in our work, we never mature as full persons. We must not settle for less than work that is good for the worker, they say. We destroy the human being if work means functioning without joy, without fulfillment, without imagination. We need challenge to develop ourselves and to find a sense of wholeness. But finding that work seems impossible sometimes, or the privilege of a very few. Many of our contemporary workplaces are alienating, treating people as objects to be moved for the sake of increasing profit for the shareholders. People are taught to evaluate their own worth or the worth of their work based on how much money they make. Workers often lose control of their own time, and even basic bodily functions need to be repressed. Bathroom breaks can only occur at specified times or are timed in some workplaces. When I worked as a therapist, a psychotherapist, I had several clients who worked in call centers for health insurance. Terrible work. They were constantly monitored. Could not stay on the phone very long. They actually, at that point anyway, were really not permitted to help the person solve a problem. And they could only go to the bathroom for a short amount of time and at specified times. It's dehumanizing. And they didn't even have any kind of connection to a product. You know, if they could help a person solve a problem, then they could feel good about that. So what does this kind of work do to a worker? Not good. We cannot, by individual selves, change dehumanizing work environments. But many stones can build an arch. Drops of water turn a wheel. We can join with others. We can support others in our everyday lives. We can see, respect, and be kind to all the workers we encounter, actually even including ourselves. Humans feel alive and whole when we are able to express our true selves and we are able to value our contributions, whatever they are. And we can feel that wholeheartedness when we have received love and given love. And so, as I close this morning, I want to just say, as Unitarian Universalists, we can take our love into the world, and it doesn't have to be hard. Just pay attention to the people around you. So may it be. Amen. Ashe, blessed be. Will you rise in body or spirit and sing step by step? Thank you. Any community, certainly this community, has many joys and many sorrows. We invite you to share the energy of your joys, your sorrows, your prayers by taking a stone from the back of the room where Amy has the basket, investing the energy in your energy into that stone, and bring it forward to the bowl, which represents being held by this community, being held in love. So please go down the side aisles and up the front. And some sorrows and joys from the community. Our member, Libby Tisdale, continues to recover from surgery at Hershey Med. She did have ovarian cancer, but they believe that they have taken care of it and that it's curable. Libby is not really ready for visitors yet, but if you'd like to send her a card, I'm sure she'd like that. Pat Kaufman is scheduled to have surgery on Wednesday, lung surgery, also for cancer. She would like visits and calls when she is home, not in the hospital. No. And Mary B., joy and sorrow that fits for today's topic, her job is being cut on September 29th But she believes she can make double the money somewhere else. And if you know of anyone who's ready to give a job to a therapist social worker, let Mary know. Let's join. Oh, no, I'm going too fast. Thank you. Our final stone for all that remains in our hearts and minds. Just find a centered place for a prayer. Love loudly. Love loudly, Spirit of light, of life, of all that is good and bad and in between. Give me the courage and inspiration to love loudly, to share my joy and compassion with others, to let them know how much I appreciate them. We all give and receive love, but loving loudly is one of the greatest gifts of all, and it is so simple. All it requires is one person who's willing to say to anyone and to everyone, you are loved. You are worthy of love. You deserve to be loved. Spirit of life, help me spread love throughout my communities. Help me teach others to love loudly so that it begins a circle around and so that I can hear it too. Let's sing a responsive hymn, Open My Heart. Words on the screen, they are also 1013 in the Teal book.
The Unitarian Church of Harrisburg is, as always, a freely gathered church of free people. The church is created, sustained, and supported by you. Each month, we share half of our Sunday plate with a local nonprofit organization. For the month of September, and yes, who can believe it's September already, we are sharing with the UU Justice PA Education Fund. UU Justice PA is an advocacy group that promotes UU values across the state. If you wish to contribute online, please visit uchbg.org homepage for options. Your financial support and commitment matter. Please consider giving what you are able.
When we hear the sudden call, when the world must come together as one, there are people dying. It's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We are all a part of God's great family, and the truth, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. Yeah, it's true. We'll make a better day. Just you and me. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, 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 la 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 la, la 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 la. La la
Thank you, Zari. It's lovely to have you play for us. Now is the accepted time. Not tomorrow, not some convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done, and not some future day of the year. It is today that we fit ourselves for the greater usefulness of tomorrow. Today is the seed time. Now are the hours of work, and tomorrow comes the harvest and playtime. So wrote W.E.B. Du Bois. As Amy extinguishes our chalice, I say to you, you are enough. You are loved. You are worthy of love. You deserve to be loved. You are enough. Go in peace. Take your love and your courage right out into that world. Blessed be. Go ahead, Zari.